Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Well, I was up and at it pretty good this morning, working on the store again. Actually made an order this morning. I want to test out and see how some of my products are going to look, how they're going to feel. So I ordered a bunch of shirts and hat and what have you. We'll actually give a few, if it works out. I'm trying to figure out this ordering thing. If it works out, I'll have a few shirts samples to give away at Woodstock, just to some friends or whatever. But anyhow, today we're going to talk about the raw vegan food police. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button now, click on the little bell, and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel and hopefully come back and watch some more of my videos. I would appreciate that. The raw vegan food police. And as the second part of it says, nobody cares. Or maybe they do. I do see people get a little worked up over it, but maybe that's the mentality people really should have. Now, before anybody gets their nose bent out of joint here or whatever, I'm just talking about the busybodies, the people that are constantly sticking their nose in what everybody else is eating. We all have our opinions, and hey, it's fine to express opinions, but I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those people that are nitpicking all the time. Every time a photo, you know them. You're picturing people in your head that you're connected with on social media right now. You know them. Those people, every time a photo is posted, every time anything is posted about anything food, recipe, ingredients. Well, is that ingredient? What is that ingredient there? Is it fully raw? Oh, I know. I read an article, and this article from Zimbabwe says that this thing does this or that. And a lot of the time, don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily saying that they're wrong a lot of the times. A lot of the times it is accurate health information. But a lot of times it's just nitpicking too. It's kind of that next level stuff. And, you know, I think we do, the reason I'm talking about this is I think we do a disservice to people when we're trying to share this lifestyle. It can be complicated, confusing in the beginning as it is. But when we try to get down to this level of purity, this level of perfection, I think that just really intimidates people that are new to the lifestyle. And I think a lot of times that can be why so many just give up. I remember, I think back about, a little over 5 years ago when I first started learning about following this lifestyle. And some of the stuff that I first saw, I was even spinning out in the first month or so, going, oh my God, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. Oh my God, I shouldn't put this in here. Just worrying about every single ingredient that I was using at the time. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm willy-nilly now and I'll just put anything in my mouth, anything in my body, or put anything on my food. But I mean, we got to be realistic here. And also there's the ones, they always have, I don't know, sometimes, I don't know if other people notice that, but they always slide a little dig in there, like their little purity digs in there about, maybe they show something they're like, or it's kind of, I forget what the psychological term is, but it's kind of a backhanded compliment. Oh, that really looks good if it wasn't for this blah, blah, blah ingredient or whatever they're eating in there that just doesn't live up to the standards of our pure brethren out there. I think everybody's really tired of it. I think everybody rational in this food world is tired of it. Maybe we could just segregate those next level people that want to just like get down to the microscopic level. Maybe they could have their own group and have their own discussions. Because honestly, I don't think anybody rational is really paying attention to this. It's a big picture thing. I mean, I've got too much stuff going on in my life, even within the realm of this health stuff that I share, that I do, that I study, to be just, obsessing over every little detail all the time. And, I want you to think about something, no matter what it is, and this is just, it's human nature, it's psychology, it's our basic instincts, it's just the way things work. Think of any arguments online, and you see it in the vegan community, you see it splits within the raw vegan community about exactly how to do it. Now that's ridiculous to me, the raw vegans that are all raw vegan amongst themselves, just like getting down to these minute details. But think about it, whether it's the food, the health, what we're talking about here, or if it's politics, religion, hot topics of the day, whatever. People will spend hours and hours, days and days, passionately just arguing over a subject, that it's the type of subject that you just know nobody's changing their minds. Nobody on either side is changing their minds. And that's why I don't debate. I don't get into much debate online about any subject whatsoever, because it's pointless. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I don't do this because it makes people feel bad, or let's just all be nice. It's pointless, because neither side, when you have these type of, general going back and forth online in social media, especially where a lot of times what happens is ego gets involved, and then it gets about like, I'm right and I have to stick to my guns, because I've gone this far. But bottom line is, nobody seems to ever really change their mind. You can argue for days and days and days, and sometimes people will say, well, I have the right to do it. Well, sure, you have the right to do this, but I ask them afterwards, and they'll get angry sometimes, because I like to poke and get a little information at times. I'm like, so what did that bring you? What did that solve? What was the resolution that came out of this, big, intense debate over a lot of times something minute, dealing with food? Well, I mean, I guess, like I say, once again, all these things are just my opinion, and your mileage may vary. What I consider minute may not be minute to somebody else. But in the end, and I've said this many, many times, it doesn't matter what your message is, and it doesn't matter if you're absolutely 100% right with verification, with stuff you can back it up with. You can't beat somebody over the head with a message. You can't just overpower. You can't speak loud enough. You can't shout loud enough to convince somebody to do something with that kind of a method. And like I say, I think it's actually counterintuitive, and it turns off a lot of people. I try to pay attention sometimes just to this whole, like I say, I'm more of a big picture type person. I don't like to spend a lot of time in groups and individual places, so I'm always kind of just scooting around trying to get get my hand on the pulse of thing, get my fingers on the pulse of thing, and just see how, what people are thinking, how they're doing. So when I'm doing this, I like to pay attention. I like to see what's working out there. I like to see like in YouTubers or just different social media places, groups, whatever, I like to see which approaches, which people are actually getting results. How am I trying to say this? I like to see, like, who is actually convincing people about this raw vegan lifestyle, or just a plant-based lifestyle in general. Who are the types of people? What's the type of message? What's the type of delivery that people will listen to? And one thing I listen to a lot, as far as my comments and stuff go, I read all my comments. I try to, even if it's just like a little smiley face or whatever, I try to respond just to let people know that I'm reading them, and I'm actually reading them and paying attention to what people say. And like I say, this isn't trying to toot my own horn, but one thing I've noticed people say over and over is they do like my approach of just not being overbearing with it, or not preaching, or not saying you have to do this, and just kind of trying to be an example. That's what I've tried to do ever since I started this channel. That's my whole method of sharing, whether it be online or whether it be in person. I'm not one of those people that's out there, just talking plant-based, vegan all the time. But people see what I'm doing, even people in my day-to-day life. When I was back in Costa Rica, people that I didn't think paid any attention would make comments sometimes after being around me for a while, because they noticed how I was living. I didn't have to tell them anything. They just saw what I was doing every day. Now, it was a little bit different down there because those people had a little bit of perspective, and I think they got to see the contrast between the crazy train wreck that was me before and who I was now, how I carried myself and who I had become and who I was becoming. So I've just, like I say, that's just always been my approach. I don't get into it. Somebody in my personal life, which doesn't happen very much because I'm not around people a lot. If somebody wants to poke and give me a hard time about, oh, all you eat is fruits and vegetables, or blah, 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 or whatever, I don't really care. I mean, I don't get all sappy and all, but it's about this, and try to, like, get all teary-eyed and sad and try to explain to them. I'm like, you do what you do. You do what you do. We're all, pretty much out there. We should all be adults about it. Or what I'm getting at is, like, if we're online, I'm sure not everybody's an adult that's in all the groups and people that we're talking to, but we're mostly adults out there. So, you know, this stuff is kind of really, this is just basic logic. This is common sense. I mean, you think about it yourself. Think about it. We'll finish with that. Like, how many do you know, how many people like that are successful at, and don't get outside veganism, all this kind of stuff, just think outside of it in anything. How many people do you know that are successful at winning somebody over to their way of thinking or whatever they're trying to convince somebody of by yelling at them, telling them they're stupid, telling them this is wrong how you're doing it, you know, just being overbearing like that. So yeah, honestly, let's just start. It's like trolls. If you don't feed a troll, they die, they go away. If you just start ignoring these, you know, raw food police, raw vegan police, food police in general, and just don't say anything to them. Just ignore them, ignore them, ignore them. They go away. They go away. I've used this a lot in a lot of different situations, and believe me, it works. So anyhow, you do you, and I'll do me, and we can continue to share, but let's do it, you know, in an effective and meaningful way. Anyhow, just my 2 cents worth. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If y'all like it, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.